So I left off telling y'all about how I need to come up with a plan on how I'm going to get away from the crackhead or whatever. So I go to work that one afternoon, and I got off about 10:30. So the way my two jobs were set up, I would work the morning time, take my son to school, and then when my son get out of school, he comes up to my job, and then I would go from that job to my next job, which would land me at getting off at like 10:30 at night or whatever. So my son would be with me, so he ain't, worried about my son. So typically when I would get off at 10:30 at night or whatever, he's usually not in the room, but he'll come back to the room right after, he think I done made it home good or whatever. Then he'll come back to the room, show his face, and then he'll disappear again, probably asking for some money or something to eat or something like that, and then he'll disappear again. So I'm like, okay, I got all that into consideration. So when I get to work, what's making me leave him right now is because so much is going on. For one, I'm trying to balance being a mother. I'm trying to balance being a girlfriend. I'm trying to balance two jobs. I'm trying to balance too much stuff. And then on top of all of that, I got all his nonsense going on around me, which is affecting me. I ain't getting good sleep. He's bothering me all times of night. He got me confused and, just got me running raggedy or whatever. And so I need a break. This is not a break to leave him. This is a break for me to kind of get my bearings back together or whatever. And things is getting chaotic because we hadn't had that fight. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, you know what? I ain't down for fighting this man every night. But, if he run up on me, I'm going to handle that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, you know what? This here is crazy, but not crazy enough for me to leave. I know. We all know me by now that I'm going to roll until the wheels fall off. And sometimes the wheels done fell off and I'm still putting them back on to the wagon. Like, no, I'm going to make it work. They still, they still all put together, so they'll still work. You know what I'm saying? Me, I ride until the wheels fall off. And I'm learning now that, baby, you're going to have to just let that wagon run into the wall by itself and you jump off of it and worry about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because that's me. I ain't never going to, leave somebody when they down. You know what I'm saying? And at least that's what I was thinking. But he was already down when he came into the relationship. I just thought maybe, he'll get better over time, which we already know that's not going to happen. So for the new people who are just jumping in and learning me, you call it gullible, you call it soft-hearted, call it whatever you want to, but I call it my journey, and this is what I went through to get to who I am now. This is a past story. This is not going on now. I have a current situation going on now, but this is not it. This is just, I'm taking y'all through my journey of all the toxic relationships that I've been in. Some I chose on my own, some chose me, and I chose them back. But I ain't gonna say I just walked up and like, well, hey, tapped on the shoulder, hey, I want you to come and ruin my life. Yes, come on, baby. Come on, ruin my life. No, it ain't like that. It's just me was out here looking for love and not valuing myself, not seeing my worth. I put everybody else above me and I brought myself down to the bottom. And so once they seen that I put myself to the bottom and bring them to the top, they just went on ahead and kept stomping me down lower as they can get me. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way I can put it. So back to the story. So I get to work and I'm trying to, come up with how I'm going to get away from him, because in my mind, I was thinking like I wanted to do this later on down the road, not actually today. But when I sat back, it was something about me going and looking in the mirror after we had fought or whatever. And because this happened the day before, the day that I decided that I want to, break away from him for a week or two or so. And so while I'm thinking of my plan, like I said, I wasn't planning on totally leaving him. So therefore, where I was going, I wasn't planning on staying forever. I just wanted to go and get myself back together because I had a lot that I was juggling and I needed to get my bearings back so I could be a little more focused to keep things going. You know what I'm saying? For myself and for my son or whatever. So when I looked in the mirror and there was like a small little knot on my forehead. Well, on my temple area. And that was it. When I seen that, that did something to me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't enough to say, okay, this is ridiculous. Leave this man alone. No, it was just like, okay, I just need to break because obviously I'm too far gone that I can't see what's actually going on in front of me, and I need a break to, you know, like I said, get my bearings back together. So when I seen that knot on my head and when I looked at him, he was jacked up. Homeboy was messed up, face and all, jacked up. I only had that one little knot, but I could see it and I know where it came from. And so it did make me feel some type of way, you know what I'm saying? And it didn't make me want to leave. It just made me fed up with what was going on because it just carried on after that. It didn't get no better, you know what I'm saying? But I stayed for it. I did. I stayed for it. So I get to work. I get my baby sister on the phone because I'm trying to go somewhere where he can't like just find me. He didn't know exactly where she stayed at, but he knew where she stayed at. He didn't know the exact apartment or whatever, but he knew the area because it is part of the city that he's from. Not the actual city he's from, but he still got family in this part over here, so he know this place like the back of his hand. So, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, he didn't know what apartment she stayed in. So I called her up and I asked her, you know, is it cool if me and your nephew can come and stay with you for maybe a week or two at the max. Other than that, we gonna be out your hair. We not staying no longer than that. She was like, sure, no problem. Y'all can stay as long as you want to or whatever. And I was like, nah, I just need a week or two. And if you could do that, you know what I'm saying, until I get paid, and then I'll just get me another room after I stay with you the 2 weeks. That way I have another check coming in or whatever. And then I'll be out your hair or whatever. And she was like, well, ain't no rush. You can come here. You can stay as long as you want to. You know what I'm saying? And so I did that. So once she gave me that information or whatever, there was still like 2 more days left on the room that me and him was currently staying in. So it worked out perfectly because he'll have 2 days to stay in there, and then he gonna have to figure out what he gonna do on the 3rd day. So after my sister said, yeah, now I'm like, okay, well, now that I know that I got that in my bag, do I want to do this now or do I want to wait and use it for another time? And everything in me was like, no, do it today. Because at this point, I ain't never left him. So he don't even know that I'll walk away or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He just think that I'm going to always be there for him to be a punching bag, for me to be a punching bag for him or whatever. And so after she told me yes or whatever, so now I'm like, okay, now I got to come up with a plan of how I'm going to go in there and get my stuff and leave without him, you know, causing the scene or catching me or whatever, because I'm going to have to sneak and do this, because if he sees me, he ain't finna let me go. I ain't finna just be able to walk out the door with my clothes and my son and then just be like, I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? No, it ain't gonna go down that easy. So I have to do it in a sneaky way. So I said, okay, this how I'm gonna do it. If he's not in the room when I get off, I'm gonna let my son stay in the car. Car's gonna stay running. I'm gonna run in there and I'm gonna just grab the basket of clean clothes in there. Make sure I have my extra uniforms or whatever. And we gonna take that and we gonna go. And we'll come back for the rest of the stuff. But I need to get out. So we just grabbing whatever I can fit in that basket real quick. That's it. So I said, okay, boom, we gonna do that. So if he ain't in the room when I get there, that'll be good. Then I just go grab what I need to go grab and get on in the car. But if he is there, I know eventually he will be leaving to go run the streets or whatever, and I can leave at that time, but I didn't want to stick around. I just wanted to go immediately. So I'm praying all the way to the hotel room. I'm like, please don't let him be in this room so I can just grab our stuff and get in the car and we gonna go. So my sister lived an hour away from where I was staying, and so I wasn't gonna go stay with her forever because I have the 2 jobs, which is in a whole nother city, an hour away. So I have to travel back and forth to both of these jobs if I'm living there. I could find another job, but I've had these 2 jobs in my pocket for years. And so, I just don't want to mess up the flow of my money right now, whatever. Yeah, it's costly because I had to travel back and forth every day for 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? But I rather did that because that's just how my money was set up. So I get off work that night, and when I got to the room, he wasn't there. I did just what I said I was going to do. I went in there, got the basket of clean clothes, throw whatever I could on top of that basket, and put it in the car, and me and my son peeled out. We went on ahead and went to, this is taking place in Cocoa, Florida, and Altamont, Florida. So we shoot to Cocoa just like that. I'm not answering his calls. He is now calling my phone. I ain't answering. He leaving all kind of voicemails and all kind of stuff, and he making threats, and he's saying all kind of crazy stuff. And so I went that whole night without talking to him or whatever. And then the next day, I knew I had to go back to work. So I knew that he didn't hear from me all night or whatever. He was going to probably be waiting for me at my job, one of the jobs, because my schedule. My schedule is pretty much the same every day. So if he can't find me somewhere else, he can find me at work because I'm going to go to work. So the next day, he called and called and called and called, and I finally got to work. And I was like, let me just answer the phone to keep him from coming up here or whatever. And so I answered the phone. Of course, he's crying and begging and pleading like he sweat and just going ham. And 1 minute he crying and saying, I'm sorry, I love you, I won't do the things I do no more, I'm going to stop these drugs, this, that, and the third. Then the next minute he all hot, mad, and he ready to, tear up some stuff. Or I'm going to come up there to the job and I'm going to pounce on you. That's his favorite word. That's how I know we going to fight, when he used the word pounce. That was his thing. He was like, man, you going to make me come up there and pounce on you. And you know me, I ain't backing down. You come up here playing if you want to, sir. You can get it again. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't back down. Better find somebody else to play with because I ain't the one. But why can't I be like that? You know what I'm saying? I can physically be, I don't know what the word I'm looking for right now, but I can get physical and mean business, but then my heart on the other end don't want to be acting like I'm acting now, but I just think too much of people. I just really do, you know what I'm saying? Because when I'm in these toxic relationships, I can see everything somebody else is trying to pull over me, but I can't see what the one in front of me is doing to me. I don't have the juice or the mind to see what's going on in front of me. But let somebody on the outside come and try to play those same games with me. I could call they bull real quick, but I can't call the bull for the one who's doing it to me. You know what I'm saying? That is crazy to me. And that's a whole lot of what I went through in these relationships, is that I guess how I could put it is like, all right, I got one putting me through hell. I ain't finna have two put me through hell. Like, I'm putting foot down with you. And since I already know he bringing the bull, I'ma just, continue to deal with this over here. But I ain't finna let nobody new come in and play me, if I'm making sense. But y'all normally be right there with me. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Fill in the blanks, because we be on the same page. Y'all my people. Y'all, I love y'all. So, You know what I'm saying? He's sitting here and he's doing all this crazy talking. Then he flows back into the I love you mode and all this here stuff. And so eventually he did come up to the job. And he wanted to know where I was at, where I was staying, and all this here stuff. And so he tried to use manipulation and all that good stuff, you know. Oh, I know you staying with a man. You all the stuff I done did to you, why wouldn't you want to go stay with a man? And so, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm still sitting here like done big debate of I'm not cheating on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had to prove that to everybody, because that would be everybody's famous line for me. But I'm not the cheater. It's y'all the cheater. And so the manipulation get thrown back on me, which will make me confess all my love for them, and that's what they be wanting from me. So he carrying on, going in and out, and you know, now he's probably drunk or high, and now he's calling all, you know, just acting crazy like they do. I have had some fun times with all of these toxic relationships that I've been in, but the bad outweighs the good. And just about all of them except for this last one, because the last one was pretty tricky, but it still was there. I wrote that list so many times of all the good on one side and all the bad on the other side. And, you know, sometimes we could be just writing different things in because we don't want to deal with the truth at the time, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's just the honesty part of it. So anyhow, I end up you know, conversating with him or whatever, which prompts us back to getting back into the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because with him acting crazy how he acting, now I'm ready to just throw the whole thing away. And so now he pipes down and, you know, he started talking like he got sense and acting like he got common sense and he gonna actually do right. You know what I'm saying? So I stayed with my sister for about 2 weeks. I wouldn't let him come over to see me, but he made his way back to the city that I was in, which was Cocoa. He finally made his way back to Cocoa or whatever. And so he got out of the room and he ended up coming. He was just like, well, just tell me what city you in so that way I can be closer to you, because I'll sleep outside in the ditch just to be close to you or whatever. And I'm like, no, because I know he will do it. He done it before. I know he will do it just to be close. You know what I'm saying? I'll sleep out in the car or whatever, you know. And I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? No. So he found some family members to go and stay with in that area or whatever. And so once the 2 weeks was up, we went on ahead, got back together, and we went back to Altamont, Florida. We went back to that hotel and we got another room on the different side of the hotel this time. So this time we were actually on the side with all the drug dealers and all that good stuff for him. So basically it was right at the front door. You know what I'm saying? So things just keep getting worse and worse, you know. So So I forgot to tell y'all about the beginning of our relationship before we ended up having to move out of the apartment. Somebody had called CPS on me. So when he was there, while we were, you know, he was hoovering me and gaslighting me and all that good stuff, he was there at the house when the CPS worker came by or whatever. They didn't find anything, so, you know, they left me alone or whatever. She came in and she talked to everybody in the house, talked to all the kids or whatever, and she couldn't find what was reported to her. So everything got dropped. But she wanted me to come down and fill out a piece of paper or whatever. And so I'm just like, I ain't finna fill the paper out because you said you didn't find anything wrong that you could, you know, get me for, or you don't see anything here that's serious that needs to be reported or whatever. You know, she recorded everybody. questions that she asked or whatever, you didn't find anything that gave you reasonable doubt that you should take the kids from the home or do anything like that or whatever. And so I'm just like, well, if you ain't do all that, then I'm good. Ain't no need for me to go just chunk it out. If there was nothing really going on here, just chunk the mess out. You don't necessarily need my signature. But I didn't know, because that's my first time dealing with CPS and my only time. And so I didn't know, so I'm just thinking, well, if you didn't find anything, then whoop-de-doo. The signature ain't that serious. So he was there for that or whatever, and he stayed with me through that. So, I gave him kudos for that or whatever. And kudos for some other things that he did in the beginning, which made me fall head over heels for him or whatever. And so the CPS worker comes back into play twice in this relationship. Neither time she didn't take my son, but I ain't gonna spoil that one because that's gonna be a whole another video by itself. And I just wanted to put that out there so you guys won't be lost when I go to talking about that in the story. So what happened is that I ended up leaving him again. And this time I ended up going back to no. How did I get back to her house? I think I went back twice. No, okay. I know what it is. So that next day, that third day that we were supposed to move out of the hotel, because remember I told you we had 2 days left? Okay. So while I'm still at my sister's house in Cocoa, Florida, I need to figure out how I'm going to go get the rest of the things out of the hotel. I'm only going to get me and my son's stuff. His stuff, he can do whatever he want to do with it. He going to find his own provisions to get to wherever he need to get, and who going to help him get his stuff out of there. I'm just going to go get my stuff. So I'm in Cocoa. Now I call my oldest sister because I need somebody there to prevent a fight from happening. You know what I'm saying? So I called my sister, my oldest sister, Life with Tashana. I called her and I asked her how should I do it or whatever, and could her and my brother-in-law come to the hotel while I get me and my son's stuff out of there so we can take it back to Cocoa to stay there for a while or whatever. And so she was just like, yeah, that's fine. She said, but you need to call the police first and have them bring an escort to monitor the situation or whatever she said, because that would be better. That way it's documented, and if he does do anything crazy, he gonna get dealt with at that moment. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? That's cool. So I called the police or whatever and asked them, can I get an escort? They said yes. They told me where to meet him at, and he will follow me back to the hotel so I can go get my stuff. And I did that. So at this point, I'm still only staying with my sister for the 2 weeks. This is only the third day that I finna be the third day that I stay at her house. And I had to go back and get my stuff from the hotel because that was the last day that anybody could stay in the room. So me, my sister, the officer, and my sister's husband, we go. I go and I open the room or whatever, and he's in there. He's just in there chilling, and he acted like everything normal and cool. And he's starting at, babe, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm like, I just want to come get my stuff. I don't want to talk about nothing. This, that, and the third. I think he was over there trying to explain himself to my sister, and I think she was having, a talk with him or whatever while I get my stuff, and, trying to keep him over there so that way I could do me, you know what I'm saying? And so the officer is just standing outside the room door, and I believe that's how it was. I think the officer was standing at the door. My sister was inside of the room, and her husband was at the back of the. They had an SUV, a Suburban. I'm sorry. I think he had opened up the Suburban doors, and he was standing by the Suburban doors or whatever. And so he loved to cry. When I tell y'all that is his thing, tears don't work with everybody. Tears work with me, for him, in that time. You know what I'm saying? They worked for me, and so he thought it would work for everybody. So he's standing over there talking to my sister, who don't get moved by stuff like that. And so I'm just like, he crying to the wrong one right there, because she ain't gonna do nothing but read him his rights and tell him the total truth. That's all she gonna do. So they conversating. I don't know what conversation they was having. I don't know what she said to him, because I was too busy getting all my stuff. I was focused and not focused on him at the moment, because I didn't want to leave nothing to have any reason why I needed to come back to this room or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up getting everything out of there or whatever. We shot it right on to, well, I transferred it from my sister's vehicle to my car once we got to her house. And then I took it to Coco, where I was going to be staying at with my sister or whatever. And so, you know, like I said, I still was only going to stay with her for a little while or whatever, for the 2 weeks. And so I did that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end, I still ended up getting back with him, and we ended up going back to the hotel. And so when we got back to the hotel, more stuff started happening, and he ended up going to jail. Now, this was so long ago. It is so many parts to this story that I have to literally think about how we got to where we got to, because I'm telling you, everything was kind of like flying past me, like, phew, it was going over my head. Like, I could not even keep up. And just how I'm telling this story, this is just how it was happening. It was thrown to me like this. And so I'm a bounce around from one thing. It's just gonna start getting, it may even end up getting confusing, but if you can keep up, keep up. If you can't, don't worry about it. Watch the video back over again, or just move on to the next part of it, or whatever. However you need to do to get it done, do what you gotta do. But there was really no order, and I'm trying to put it in order of things that happened. It was so many things that happened in a short amount of time, but still in a long period of time, because I did stay with him for 3 years. So it was a lot of different things that I should have hit the door running and not look back, but I didn't. Because I don't judge people. And you know, at that time, I did not love myself like I needed to love myself. I am learning, and I'm telling you, I'm on a whole different level of loving myself now. I am. I'm not that person anymore. This is a story of how I used to be. I'm not her no more. I've been on this journey of learning to love myself now for 2 years. And I am telling you, I am nowhere near where I was 3 years ago, 4.5 years ago. I am not in the same place. So I'm proud of me. These stories probably make me sound bad and gullible and just slow and this, that, and the third. Think of it what you want to think of it. But these are my stories, my truth of what I went through in my life in dating. Because there's a lot of people out here who going through these things right now. And they can't seem to wrap their mind around, why you just won't love me? Am I that bad? That's how I used to feel, but don't mean you gotta feel that way. But there's probably somebody out there that feel the same way. Like, I give you all of me. I give you all the love that I could possibly give you, and you still can't love me right. It ain't about them loving us. We gotta love ourselves first. And that's what I'm learning. Learning how to love me. If I ain't gonna treat myself that way, I'm not gonna let you treat me that way. If you don't like it, that is okay. You can go. And if I don't like it, it is okay. I can go. I don't have to stay and take the abuse that I have taught myself to take years and years and years ago. I thought I had to sit there and take that mess. But that was a part of not loving myself. enough to know that I don't deserve none of that, especially when I'm coming into the relationship, giving you my all. I'm making you feel like somebody, even though when I got with the crackhead, he was a nobody. But when he got with me, he became somebody. And I let him make me dark. He made me dim my light just to be with him. And that is bananas. I'm going to dim my light for a crackhead. Because, and then the thing that pissed me off now, I ain't going to say it pissed me off, but that's what's making me stronger, is because despite everything that these men did to me, I didn't love them no less. I still loved them unconditionally. Despite what they did or threw my way. I had my big girl drawers on and I ate all of that. Cleaned the plate. And I didn't have to. I shouldn't even had to do that. But I willingly did that. Because I could have up and walked away. But I wasn't that strong then. I'm getting stronger now, though. We ain't going to let that happen. That ain't going to fly no more. It's a wrap for that. If you can't love me, baby, you can move on out the way and I can love myself. I don't need you to love me. But if you want to be with me, come on and bring in some of that stuff that I'm giving you. If you can't replenish the love that I'm giving you, you keep that. I don't want a negative account. It's like you can't go to the bank and keep withdrawing money out your account without putting something back into it. Life of Tashana coming out, y'all. She be saying that insufficient funds. That's what I've been doing all my life. Giving out all of my stuff. And my bank ain't being refilled. I'm getting no deposits put back into me. And so I'm pulling insufficient funds. Because 0 from 0 leaves 0. That's my brother. All right, y'all have a good night. I love you guys. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. And you know your girl love y'all. Mwah. Have a good night.